G'day, or as the Greeks would say, Yassas. This is Jim welcoming you to another fascinating episode of Irene's Kitchen. Today Irene is going to show you how to make a traditional lemon peel spoon sweet.
This is the way we grate the lemon, grate the lemon, grate the lemon.
All you need are sugar and water and some thick-skinned lemons.
Well, here we are, we're grating the zest off the lemons, round and round, which gets rid of a bit of the bitterness and the spark off it sort of thing. So you definitely need to have thick-skinned lemons to be able to get the peel off. Needs a bit of effort, but it's worth it in the end.
As you can see, the first thing Irene does is grate the outer layer of the lemon peel. This zest, as Irene calls it, can be dried and used later in a variety of recipes, including cakes and other sweets. Once the outer layer of the lemon peel has been removed, you remove the remainder of the thick peel in slices, the way Irene is doing here. Before you boil the lemon peel, you need to weigh it so you know how much sugar to add to the mixture.
We're weighing them so we can see, work out how much sugar we need and how much water.
As your starting point, use the formula 1 kilogram of sugar for each kilogram of lemon peel, plus 1.5 cups of water.
In the saucepan.
However, we are not ready to boil the lemon peel just yet.
There you are. Put them in there, fill it up with water.
The next stage is to soak the slices of lemon peel in water for up to 12 hours.
And leave it like that overnight. And then tomorrow, strain it. And change the water once if you like, to get the bitterness out of it.
Once you have soaked the lemon peel, empty the water and add fresh water to the peel. Boil the lemon peel without sugar for around 5 minutes and drain this water as well. So far, the process of making lemon peel spoon sweet has taken Irene some 12 to 15 hours, so be patient.
Now what we've done is, we washed the lemons, we grated the rind, the zest off the lemon, we cut it into strips, peeled the lemon peel off, put it in the water, in cold water overnight, strained it. We do that to get the bitterness out of it. You can do it twice and strain it. Then I boiled them again in fresh water just for 5 minutes. Again, it gets rid of some bitterness. And then we just put them back in the pot. 1 kilo of fruit, before you've boiled it of course, to 1 kilo of sugar and 1.5 glasses of water. And then all we do now is bring it to a gentle boil, keep an eye on it, have it boiling gently until it's set, until we reach setting point. And that's all there is to it. Just be careful that it's not on too high and you don't burn it once the sugar dissolves. And then just keep it boiling gently until you test the syrup. We'll test the syrup and see when it's set. Put the lid on now until it comes to a boil, and then we boil it with the lid off. And that's that so far. So this is about 5 minutes later. It's come to a boil. The sugar's dissolved. We'll leave the lid off and have to keep an eye on it, but it should be okay, it won't stick. We'll see how long it needs. There you are. That's all it is. There's ample water there for it to boil. About 1.5 to 1 3/4 hours later, we've turned it off, it's stopped its boiling, and this is what it looks like. because it's hot, so you think, you know, the liquid is liquidy, but as it cools, it will become a thick syrup.
So if you only had a kilo of that, would it take a shorter amount of time?
No, I think it would take the same amount of time. And how we test it, how I test it anyway, when you see it starting to thicken and the water has evaporated, so I put a spoonful of syrup in a plate and put it in the fridge just to quicken the cooling process, and I go like that, and I think, no, it's too watery after it's cooled. The second one could have been, say, you know, 10 minutes later, quarter of an hour. It's still, for me, too light. The third one is starting to thicken. You can see it, which would have been, again, probably about a quarter of an hour later. And the first one, when you push it and you see it rippling, you think that's okay. So I've turned it off. And of course, by the time it cools down, it's still, you know, sort of cooking anyway. It's still thickening, so that's a nice consistency for it. That's how I test it. So you can see the difference here, how watery it is, the first one. The second one's still watery. The third one's starting to thicken. And then a bit later it's thickening more, so I think that's just nice. And until it cools down, it will thicken still on its own. So that's the lemon sweet. So that took about 1 3/4 hours for it to cook. So you turn it down and have it simmering strongly though, but not boiling. And as it starts to thicken a bit, turn it down a bit more as well, the heat. But you keep an eye on it, and as long as you keep testing it like that, once you've seen that texture, you know it's, you know. But you put it in the fridge to cool it down quicker, so you're not waiting each time, because you don't want that to overcook and get really sticky and stodgy. So this is just a nice syrup, I think. And when it cools down, we put it in cool it down a little bit, put it in jars, have it as an offering with our coffee. Lovely, lovely. Just got a slight tang to it, a slight bitterness, and a very light taste. Just enough to sweeten your mouth a bit.